So today I thought we'd go over just some random things to know about Cedar City that you might be interested in. My name is Elizabeth Prisbrey. I'm with Stratum Real Estate Group. If you're looking to make a move to Cedar City or really anywhere in southern Utah, I would love to help you out with that. Please feel free to call, text, or email. That contact information is down below in the description. Now, when I say random, this list really is random. It's just stuff that I thought about that I was thinking, you know what? Some people might benefit from this. Whether you live here or whether you're looking to move here, you might know it, you might not. Just some things to think about. The first one is we get a first and second winter and we get a first and second spring. And I'll explain to you what that means. We are in October, it's October 2024. Typically you don't see snow in October, but we just saw snow on October 17th come to Cedar City. The week before we were in the 80s, next week we're going to be in the 70s. Every year that I've lived here, we've seen at least one snowstorm come through in the month of October, and then it tends to go away until around Thanksgiving time. So we call that our first winter, then we get our second winter a little later on. The same thing tends to happen in the spring. We'll have our winter and then we have a warm front come through and it really is bright, beautiful outside. We get that first taste of what we're going to be experiencing and then that cold front comes back in. And then a little bit later into the season, we will get our actual spring or our second spring. So just something interesting to know about Cedar City. First and second winter, first and second spring. Now, the second thing that's also pretty random, but kind of relates to this weather, is Cedar City is known for having drastic temperature changes in one given day. You can wake up in the morning and feel really pretty cold, so you're putting on a big coat. And then as the day goes on, you'll get kind of hot. And so you'll wonder, why did I wear this big coat? And you might need a light sweater or even a t-shirt. Then the afternoon comes and you think, oh, I need a light sweater. Then evening comes and you have a big coat back on. And you will see this a few times throughout the year as Cedar City is trying to find out what type of temperature it wants to have. So after you've lived here a little while, you'll know exactly what I am talking about. Now, the third thing I want to share with you that I picked up when I lived here, maybe you already know this if you're familiar, but there is a higher altitude here. We're right around 5,800 to 6,000 feet. And so the altitude will adjust how you bake or cook your food. I was coming from Las Vegas, and so I was at a lower altitude. When I started baking cookies, rolls, I realized they weren't turning out how they were when I lived in Las Vegas. You wouldn't think that because we're a high desert that altitude would really affect the food. I was used to going up to Bryan Head where you're at an elevation of about 10,000 feet and having that affect my food when I would bake it. However, I didn't think the same thing would apply in Cedar City. The altitude is higher here. It is going to affect your baking, so you'll want to make sure that you adjust as needed. Now, I'm not a baker. I'm not going to tell you what those adjustments are. Definitely look those up. If I could tell you, I would. I'm just not great at it. It will affect your food. The fourth random thing that I want to share with you, you might already know it, is that we have a small airport here. There is a larger airline that flies in and out of here. It's actually a subsidiary of Delta Airlines, so you can get a flight in and out of Cedar City. The only thing is it's going to fly only to Salt Lake City. So when you pick up a flight from here or to here, you're going through Salt Lake City. So I don't typically use it if I'm flying out because I'm going somewhere further away. I have family in Vegas. I drive down to Vegas and I take a flight from Vegas. But I've had people fly in from across the country. They don't have a car here. It makes sense for them to get that connecting flight from Salt Lake into Cedar City and then rent a car here. Now, at the same airport, we also have an aviation school that pairs with Southern Utah University. So you will see students at this airport and they are actually using it to learn how to fly or to get their hours in to get their pilot's license. And then of course we have hangars at this small airport as well. So if you are somebody that has a private plane or maybe you're working up north or across the country and you just want to come in to visit, there is an option here. The fifth random thing I want to share with you is that Cedar City actually has some sheep tunnels here. I know that sounds odd, but when the farmers would bring the sheep down the mountain, they would use these tunnels to go under the main street so not to disrupt traffic. What's interesting is now every year in October, we will have a sheep parade down Main Street. It takes place during the Cedar Livestock and Heritage Festival that's always in October every year. And they'll use this parade to bring almost 1,000 sheep down Main Street instead of having to take them through the tunnel. They don't really use these tunnels anymore, but it's just a unique thing about Cedar City that you will find these sheep tunnels going under the city so that they don't have to use these main roads. All right, number 6 on our random list is Cedar City actually has our own Star Search. If you're from the 90s, you will remember Star Search being on TV. Cedar City has our own Star Search. It takes place every year. Really fun. I went to the first one last year and I was so impressed by the talent that we have here in Cedar City. I shouldn't have been because Cedar City is known as Festival City, USA. We have the Shakespeare Festival that takes place here every year, but it was so cool to see all of these talented people from my community get on the stage, which leads me to we also have our own Dancing with the Community Stars that takes place every year. So a lot of cultural community events here, but those are 2 fun ones that whether you live here, you're moving here, if you haven't checked them out yet, definitely check them out because that is a lot of fun. All right, number 7, this one is truly random, but I thought of it because we're in the month of October. This might not seem odd to anyone, but it was for me. If you've heard my videos a lot, you know Cedar City is a very custom area. There are not a lot of tract home communities in here. Now, we don't have a lot of street lights going through our neighborhoods. Again, I came from Vegas. I was used to street lights being in the neighborhoods because these were master plan developments that developers came in and they did these tract homes. So in Vegas, we always had trick-or-treaters come through after dark. Nobody really started until that sun started going down. Here in Cedar City, I noticed that the kids actually start trick-or-treating when it is very well lit outside. It was odd to me the first year, but I found that I really love it, whether I'm taking my own kids around or whether I'm just sitting on my porch and passing out candy. I love that they're doing it in the light because now I get to actually see all of their costumes. It feels a lot safer. We don't have the street lights in these communities, not typically. You might find one on a corner by a street sign, but that's really about it. So it's safer for the kids because it is darker out. You don't want to risk hitting anybody, and that does happen around Halloween time. It can get dangerous. And you get to actually see your neighbors walking about. You can recognize them. You're not right in front of them a foot before you realize, oh, I do know that person. So I kind of love that about here. Maybe it's like that in the town that you're in. I wasn't used to it. Just something to know about Cedar City. They actually still trick or treat here in the neighborhoods. If you're coming from a larger city, it doesn't quite happen as much as it used to when I was younger. All right, this leads us to number 8. This one, truly random, but something you'll thank me for. Main Street in Cedar City is where most of our businesses are, which means that's where most of our traffic is. It does get congested as you are going down Main Street. Really in Cedar City, it's only going to take you about 10 to 12 minutes to get from the south end of town to the north end of town, even when we have traffic, but it can still be annoying. It gets congested. What I want you to pay attention to when you are driving down Main Street is that speed limit is going to change like 3 to 5 times. I was surprised when I was driving it. I was heading south on Main Street from the north end of town and I was at 45 miles per hour. Then it hit 40. Then it hit 30, then it went back up to 35, then it back to 30, then up to 45. And so it will randomly change the speed limit just on Main Street. So pay attention when you're driving down it to ensure that you are obeying those laws, especially when you get down to where you get a lot of pedestrians near Center Street and near that historic downtown of Cedar City. Just something that you'll find helpful. All right, number 9, you might know this one, you might not, but Cedar City is getting an inland port. They have already started construction on it. You will find this on the northwest side of town near Iron Springs Resort. This is going to be almost 900 acres. If you're not sure what an inland port is, essentially think of the ports at the dock when the ships bring in and they have these big containers that are unloaded off the ship and then they put them onto trucks. Well, an inland port is kind of similar, only the train is bringing bringing in these big containers from the ports that are actually on the outland. I don't know if that's what it's called, but the trains will bring in these containers and then they will be dispersed to trucks from there. This could be a really great thing for Cedar City. It's bringing a lot of jobs. It's not in the center of town. It's going to be about a 15 to 20 minute drive out to this inland port, but it will bring a lot of jobs. It's a great opportunity for our community to grow. All right, number 10 on this list, and the last thing that I'll share is that Cedar City has dinosaur tracks and petroglyphs really nearby. If you're going to map it on Google Maps, just put in the Parowan Gap. This is where you'll find those petroglyphs. And then right down the road from that, you will find some dinosaur tracks. I'll be honest, it's very difficult for me to find the dinosaur tracks because my eye does not work like that. But they will have little signs of kind of a dinosaur paw print. It's not a paw. What is it? I don't know what it is, but look for that and you will see the dinosaur tracks. And then of course, if you go south to St. George, about a 45-minute drive, there's also a dinosaur museum down there where they have built the museum around the tracks in the ground. They didn't disturb them or move them. Definitely something worth checking out. Now, we have a lot more random things about Cedar City. As I think of them, I will keep them on a list and I will bring another list back here to you so that you can learn a little bit more about our town. Remember, my name is Elizabeth Prisbrey. I'm with Stratum Real Estate Group. I really would love to help you make a move here. If that is something you are thinking of doing, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And if you found any value in this channel, go ahead, like and subscribe so that you don't miss any of these videos. And then check out this video that I have here in the corner that is perfect for you. All right, until next time, have a wonderful day.